appointment and for, or if we can vote on it again.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any public hearing?
Any
I mean,
public
is there any
hearing on
public
this?
discussion on
No?
that one?
Okay, I vote to close public hearing.
Hold on,
hold on,
she's
hold
coming
on.
back. You
Yeah,
have to
yeah, yeah.
let them speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Move to, I make a motion. Oh, you want to close already?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
I make a motion that we require a supermajority for any and all appointments to the Brownsville PUB. Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
let's go through the roll call, right? I think, Will, you want roll call? Will, do you want a roll call for each vote?
Hold on.
Yes, if we're just this one, only because the discussions, it's unclear to us, and I'm assuming
Okay.
the city secretary's office who's voting on what.
Aye.
Aye.
This was for appointment only? We're not going to void for,
Removal was
We already voted for
approved
removal.
before.
so for appointment, aye.
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 Aye. Milagro unanimous?
We all,
Milagro.
Number 4?
Number 4, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and action, if any, related to the annual limit the city commission may remove Brownsville PUB Board of Directors with or without cost.
I move to open public hearing.
second.
Those in favor?
Those
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Anyone have a discussion in our public?
You are the public.
You are the
You are
public.
No, one public member.
So on this one, I know that you guys have gone back and forth for the past several meetings, and in my opening statement, I mentioned that I had done a lot of research. I have done a lot of research on different boards and their removal. And basically what I found, and there are some cases in regards to this, but I would suggest the supermajority, of course, and it would be any and all members with or without, and I would change the wording from cause because that gave y'all a lot of grief to reason. And that is what you typically see when you're researching the removal of board members throughout different types of either utility boards or other types of boards. It's usually with or without reason. And as you know, the public is very concerned at this point with the way our hands are strapped with the city in removing only one board member every year. So that would be my suggestion. Supermajority, any member at any time
Within
for reason, with or without reason. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else for public hearing?
Move to close.
If I may, just one quick comment. The original, the motion that I had made and we had talked about and I believe approved was that the city commission could remove a PUB board member for what was the term? For breach of fiduciary responsibility.
Right, we did
And-
vote on that last time.
And I suggest to you that that is sufficient in this case, because under that set of circumstances, if you had collusion or multiple commissioners who had that issue, you could remove any of them. But it would take there would be a due diligence or due process that would have to take place. And that's, I'll stick to my guns on that one, that I believe is the right way to do it.
Since we had already voted on this,
Well,
can we remove
Yeah,
this
this is
item?
a question for council. That's that may be a recommendation, and ultimately, you guys are going to adjust that if necessary?
Yeah, this one was clarified as it has passed previously with the fiduciary removal.
The, right, the motion motion to remove because of breach of fiduciary duty.
Correct.
But that's not to say that there's not
But
other
we're-
options that we could provide for removal.
Yeah, so, but to clarify, this is also discussing annual limit. So that would be, right now, it's currently 1 per year. So if you want to increase the number of people that could be removed, then you'd have to amend that as well.
I think our motion on the breach of fiduciary responsibility was that any number of members of the board could be removed without, at any time, any year, if that was a breach of fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah, there was like for cause. And
So what I have in my notes is that PUB members can be removed for breach of fiduciary duty, any and all members for cause at any time.
And we were going to study what for cause is about.
Right, so now we can.
And as, again, Mr. Chairman, I believe what this motion would, if there were somebody who wanted to do, say, we can do it without cause, at our discretion. Anytime we want to, we can remove any member of the board. And I'll just say, about it is absolutely the core issue for Fitch is whether you can make a major change in that board on a political basis at any time. That, I believe, so I'm opposed to that, but I understand that there's other arguments. I'm not trying to denigrate anybody's argument.
Meaning you would, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't understand, but,
I'm too obtuse sometimes. Basically, I would just say that if we have the ability, if the city commission has the ability to remove any and all members of PUB at any time, that is with or without cause.
with or without.
With or without cause, that will be a catching point for Fitch
Okay.
and for S&P and for Moody's, because that means you can have a wholesale change in administration on an organization that's.
I think,
And that's the way it reads.
yeah, I think ultimately there has to be some level of responsibility. So the commission, if they were to act in that way and remove all of them, ultimately they would have to take that responsibility. They would own that responsibility, right? So
We could amend that if.
See, that's the one that broke this camel's back for me, David,
Okay.
because
Well,
if we're going to allow for wholesale change like that, that's exactly what they were thinking in the Fitch article. So to me, if that's going to happen, I, at this point, would rather support an independent elected PUB board
Okay.
so that people can be directly, they can be directly accountable to the people.
Well, Mike, and make that recommendation to have the PUB board members elected as a separate item. Let the city decide.
We can
if
add
that's
that
what
to
they
the
want to do,
agenda
but
for
give them
next
those
week.
options. I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Doing it with or without and all of them. They're basically at will.
Yeah, it's at will.
I mean, the other things we've discussed and
That's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
that's-
it
they're
has
given two
been
alternatives.
qualifications, right? So if you're electing, then it doesn't matter
That's right. That's
on the
exactly right.
qualifications. So
That's right.
that's going to be,
That's exactly. Well, we
that
can
could be an
well,
issue, right?
Okay, but we can still ask for
For only-
qualifications.
Yeah,
You know,
Mr. Chairman,
Let's
again,
go back
Yeah,
to
only
number
qualified
4.
people can run. You're not a convicted felon and you're.
Again,
Let's get back on track and go to number 4. And then,
Yeah,
because
call the
anything
question.
else that we're discussing, we can put on the agenda for next week's meeting.
yes.
Right.
Okay? So we're on number 4.
Yep, so I'll make the motion to,
Did we already close the public hearing?
Yes.
did we?
Did we? No,
no,
I'm sorry.
I make a motion to close public hearing?
Well, I would, okay. I mean, just to respond to Carlos real quick. If this is kind of two paradigm approach, right? First paradigm is we're giving you, city commission, the ability to, in my opinion, micromanage PUB, acknowledge, ratify or maybe not the annual budget, the ability for a supermajority to remove. I mean, all these amendments. Under this paradigm, the city would have a lot more authority and
If-
through them,
well,
the people.
But, well, there's 2 points to that. Number one, the city would have to approve what we're recommending. Then the voters would have to approve what they want. So-
Absolutely.
So there are a couple of things. And then coupled with that, then we can add, putting it on the ballot. I don't know how we'd have to word that, but putting it on the ballot that they get elected. I have no problem with
Yeah,
that.
like,
Okay.
I mean,
The
under
chair
that
recognizes,
paradigm, I think
let's recognize Mr.
Okay,
Rubalcaba, and
sorry.
then we'll keep.
I learned
Mr.
a new word
Gonzalez.
tonight.
Yes,
The supermajority is going to really take care of the concerns with or without cause and any or all. Because you're going to have to convince
7 people.
a supermajority of the commission on the same page, to be on the same page with you. So I think that erases any political motivation when you're having to convince a lot of your colleagues there at the table to vote on that. And the Fitch report that I saw, I didn't see anything about specifically related to board members. What I read was the independence of the board, of the PUB, and then they stated rates. Well, they never did that. They don't do rates. So it's a little bit of confusion there about the independence. And if you read in the charter, the very first, which I think Daisy probably has it readily available, the very first line states that PUB is independent of the city. So we have a real concern with the board members and not having control over that removal. So I just, want you to keep that in mind, or any that might have that concern.
No, I.
Yep, thank you.
I understand.
Okay, so there's a motion to close public hearing. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, so now, number 4.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can make the motion. I motion to, let me see here, the wording.
Directors with or without cause.
Yeah, to remove any board member of directors with or without cause with supermajority vote from the city commission.
And it would also be any number.
Yes.
Any, yes.
Yes. Okay,
Second.
there's a first and second. All those in favor?
Whoop, wait, just a wee bit of discussion.
Yeah. We're,
We're running late. I promise I'll keep it brief.
it's not that we're running late, it's that we had the discussion and we closed it.
No,
Well-
we closed public hearing.
With the public, correct, I'm sorry.
The point I would make is that she's correct, that is a controlling factor. That will influence the ability of the PUB to stray too far from what the city commission would want. So I'm not against that so much as I believe the other provisions are stronger.
Just to read from the Finch article, it says rate setting and utility operations. So its independent ability to govern itself, I think, is in question.
In other words, I'm in favor of moving it forward to the commission, so I'll vote aye.
And that,
You're going to move it forward.
and I guess that's what, I wanted clarification on that too, because I'm in favor of moving that forward to the commission. I'm also in favor of sending one over that doesn't have that language, or has language from the model charter that basically allows for suspension or removal, approval of the supermajority of council. And so I guess if we do this one, I'd like to make a motion on a separate.
Well, they can do that at the city level. Remember, they can change whatever.
Well, I understand that, but I want it to come from us as well. Otherwise, we're never going to come to a complete consensus. So if we have 2 different items going to the same place, because I do want to have that noted, is that while I agree sending that to the city for their review, I'd also think that there's a better one that should be sent as well. And so with that, I'd vote aye on yours as well.
Meaning they're not mutually exclusive. We can put multiple ideas on the table suggested.
That's,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the main reason, in my case, because I've changed on this, it kind of evolved, but just kind of thinking about the trust aspect with the community, I think, thinking about the trust aspect with the community, I think that's something that we need to focus on as well. And I know we all have concerns about the PUB getting too political, but I think this is one way that we can try to rebuild the trust So you probably want a roll call?
Roll call vote, please.
Nay.
Mr. Cascos?
Aye.
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 Nay.
Aye.
Just,
Okay.
Okay, item number 5. Public hearing, consideration, discussion, and action, if any, related to qualifications of Brownsville PUB Board of Directors.
I make a motion to open public hearing.
Okay. I
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Do we have any public comment on this article number 5? Nope. Okay.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
The motion, is there a second to close public hearing?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. I believe this discussion we've had before with Mr. Cascos.
Yeah, I think I'm going to ask that we table this item.
I second.
Second, for discussion, there was some early discussion, at least when I was talking to myself, about having each commissioner, having a PUB board member representing each district in City of Brownsville. There's 4 districts.
Correct.
Then there's a couple of at-large and the mayor, and then setting some prerequisites for those at-large positions to include a qualified licensed engineer, qualified licensed CPA, qualified licensed attorney, qualified, and any other, position out there, and also requiring at a minimum an educational component, which would require a Bachelor of Arts degree in something. I don't know if this group is ready to go into that, but if we're not, then I'm prepared to ask for it to be tabled.
Okay.
Unless y'all want to talk about it and bring it back at the next.
I'll make
agenda.
one quick comment.
Just one
Go ahead.
question on that. I'd seen, and I'm forgetting what other city had done it, but it was an amendment to their ordinance where the city commission had basically set forth the requirements for the appointment of the board members, and so.
Where, is it, the city of Brownsville?
No.
Oh, it's all, okay.
But basically, they had it, that one would be, a resident or customer of the city, commercial business, a person who has experience and expertise in the field of finance, law, or engineering, and someone with, public utilities
Right.
experience. But is there anything I guess the question is there anything in the charter that would prevent the city from passing an ordinance that would set out the requirements for their own selection of the board members?
Yes, so to answer your question, no, there's nothing that prohibits that. And we currently have a motion and a second
The table.
to table.
Yes.
Can we just bring this back at the next meeting and
Yeah.
give you all
Yes,
some
if
time
there's
to think about it?
a vote on it,
Yeah, I just wanted to
It's
make one
tabled,
quick comment, I guess,
then we'll
before
bring it
we,
back.
before we finalize on the vote. But I think it's going to be very difficult, for us to define the qualifications. It makes sense, obviously, but one way that I know San Antonio manages it is that they have an advisory panel. And in that panel, they do have one representative is required from each of their different districts. So it's not really the main board, but they have the advisory panel that has some level of, I wouldn't say authority, but some level of credit, with the board. And essentially, they're the ones who represent, the different parts of the city. So for me, I think it's going to be hard for me to vote on qualifications. I think when the selections are done for candidates, they should look at that, of course. But requiring it, I think we're going to probably lock ourselves in maybe a bad situation. But
Yeah, and I'm
we can
hoping-
table it. And
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. We also, the supermajority may also control some of that. At the next meeting, Will, could you bring this item back, also coupled, and I just lost.
Well, if there's future agenda items, if you'll hold that towards the end, so we can add it to our future agenda item list.
Okay.
Right now, we have a first and a
Motion and a
second
second.
motion to
Okay.
table.
Place
Doesn't PUB already have an advisory like PubCap or something like that?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Right, okay, all right.
Call the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is
I,
table.
yeah, this is tabling.
Yeah, to table.
You want a roll call?
No.
Those that oppose?
That one's okay.
Those that oppose?
Just making sure.
Okay.
Item number 6, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and action, if any, related to the salary compensation and/or reimbursement of city commission members.
I make a
Make a
motion to
motion, we
table
open
this
the
one
hearing.
too,
Yeah,
just for the sake of time.
I'll second that to table it.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Does the public want to comment
Well-
on it before we table it?
Well, you haven't opened it for public comment.
Okay.
So you could open it for public comment, receive the public comment, close it, and then table it,
We're going to bring it back.
or just well,
Yeah.
Would it
We
be
can't
open?
bring it back.
consider though, with the public comment, we do have people here tonight that might want to speak on it. So I would recommend opening for public comment, closing for public comment, and then tabling the discussion and action, any action items for the next meeting.
Thank you.
So, the motion to open public comment,
I make the motion to open public comment.
Well, there's a motion on the table.
second?
Hold on,
'Cause we
guys.
have- we have to open it. And then
We
close
open it.
Then close it, and then,
If, it's very possible that,
Sure.
and we should allow that this piece, even if
I
we don't.
withdraw my motion to table.
Okay.
so,
The motion is, that I've made is to open for
Open.
public hearing.
I would like to hear David's motion first.
that's, is there a second?
I'll second.
Jessica, okay. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay.
So public hearing is open?
Anyone would like to
Okay.
speak on this? Okay,
I make a motion to
You would
close
like-
public hearing.
And I'll second that one.
okay.
Perfect.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
I
So,
make a motion to table.
Second.
Second. Good.
all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Item number 7, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and action, if any, related to proposed amendments to Brownsville City Charter, including but not limited to Article 6.
So this is a standing agenda item that we have every week.
I make a motion that we open for public comment.
Second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
This one's pretty broad if anybody wants to come in and.
So this is also, we can discuss how board members are appointed
In the public hearing,
in this one here.
Yeah,
This
well,
specific-
right now, we're currently in the public hearing, but yes.
Yes.
When we get to the discussion part.
If I make a, oh, we're at, yeah. If
me-
I make a motion to consider electing the PUB trustees, and with this agenda item, could we vote on it?
No.
No.
They'd bring,
They'd bring it
you
back.
would bring that back next week.
Okay.
Or whenever our next meeting is.
Right.
Well, this is opened for that
Technically,
purpose.
Very broad, right?
Yeah, it's broad on
Yeah.
purpose. So if you want to make that motion and it gets seconded and voted, then it would be,
And you'll bring it back.
No, I think we
No,
just
we-
vote.
we would
vote
vote
on
on
it.
it.
Pass?
Yeah, because it's so
Make a-
broad, I think we might be.
Make a
Okay.
motion.
I mean, I think,
Well, right now, we're currently in public hearing. It hasn't
yes.
been closed yet.
that's right.
Okay. No, you don't have it. Susan?
It's too broad.
Yeah, it's, but,
Susan, the
I make the
public, I love
motion
it.
that,
before you make your motion, which is a good one, my thing is, the process has been in place for years. And it's not not mainly the process that failed, but it was the oversight. My thinking is, if we go appointments only for District 1 through 4, those commissioners can appoint someone with the physical of what Mr. Costco's, the derivatives of having, a bachelor's degree or this or that. And the last 3 spots, which would be the at-large, would go to the public, along with the mayor's appointee, because being that he sits on there, he shouldn't have an appointment. And by going to the PUB, people that are PUB, that pay for PUB, those 3 spots would go to them by ballot, which they get by mail with their bill, which would in turn, and it's gonna be messy, and I've been tossing it in my head, because then it
That's
goes.
like what co-ops do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where it goes to the
Magic Valley,
people.
Yeah, a lot of co-ops do that.
it goes to the people, you get your ballot with your bill. If you get it electronically, you vote electronically, and it goes back to our electoral process. That you could have, anyone can run, it gets weeded out by the city to 10 people, and you have one vote per household.
Or per meter.
Yeah, and then the highest vote getters say, because there's, in that position, there's gonna be like, in this coming election, there'll be two, the at-large and mayor, where the people can vote for that person. And the highest vote getters get appointed.
So it's a plurality vote.
Exactly. That way, it goes, there's 3 public board members that have been picked by the people.
But you're not talking about the mayor to run also, right?
No, the mayor's.
The mayor's already there.
The mayor's already there.
So how many
he-
at-large you have? You only got,
you have 3.
you have 3 at-large?
Three that you
I
you
like
pick.
that idea.
Yeah, and it goes to the people.
Yeah, I
So
like that idea.
District 1 through 4 gets to a point.
Now,
but-
coupled with that, on the District 1, I think that the city should require applications or
Exactly.
applicants
Yeah.
for those district positions, really for
Oh,
all of
yes,
them.
for all of them.
Yeah.
The same process is gonna happen to everyone, what you came up with.
Yeah, I got that.
And then the last 3 open spots, which are your at-large and your mayors, would go to the public.
Not the mayor. He's already there.
Right, well, no, but he has an appointment.
Right. So he gets voted out?
No, but because he shouldn't have an appointment.
Yeah, there's only
Right.
7.
There's 7.
Oh, I see
correct?
what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
he shouldn't have an appointment because he sits on the board.
That's right, okay.
So those 3, the at-large, the 2 at-large, A and B, and your mayor, those would go to the public. And they would get their ballot, and you don't have to be an if you're a ratepayer, you get to vote. It's not, hey, do you have your card to vote? Now, if you're paying PUB, you should have the voice to say, you know what, this is who I want
On the board.
on the board, exactly.
But are there 3 at-large? I thought there's only 2.
So there's a
There's 2 at
mayor
large and a
and there's
mayor.
2
Right,
at
2
large.
at-large.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's only 2 at-large. The mayor's already there. So why?
Right, but he can appoint someone.
And then,
No, not for himself.
No, he's on the
he,
board.
he is
He's
the
on the
ex
board.
He's on the board.
officio,
Right,
But
so it's
doesn't he
only
get
2
appointment?
at-large. No.
he's the ex officio,
is
so he
his
serves
own-
by
Okay.
position.
Okay, so then
you're
just
suggesting
the
that's
2
what I
at-large,
thought.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
The 2 at-large would have an appointment,
I
or
got
would they
that.
sit on the board?
That's not a bad idea.
The 2 at-large, no, the 2 at-large would be picked by the citizens of Brownsville that are
Yeah,
ratepayers,
That's not a bad idea.
And they would sit on the board.
and they would sit on the board.
But they would also be on the commission.
No,
No.
Oh,
they're a trustee of PUB.
Oh, that's interesting.
And just,
Because we give it to the public in order, that way, they get to decide the last 2 spots.
So
and just
How
a
do you
point of
submit your name?
clarification,
Can
By
we add this to the
application.
agenda for next time to
everyone
have a
gets on it?
discussion and elect it?
And that's the thing, okay, let's
Board?
say
We could,
there's
yes.
100 people that apply, that say, hey, you know what, I want to be on the PUB board. It's going to come up to the city to weed them down to 10, the most qualified.
Whatever the number is.
Yeah, whatever the number is, it has to come down to 10 most qualified. Out of those 10, the highest vote getter in that list
The top
gets
3.
on, there's no, that 50% no. If you win by 1 vote, you win by 1 vote, and you're on the PUB board.
Okay, I think that's a very innovative idea, and I think that it's well worth exploring. I would point out from one possible hitch, which is that essentially what you're saying is every time you have an election, you have a turnover at PUB as well.
Right, well, it would be every 4 years, because
Well,
it would come in the cycle as it sits. Like this year, there's 1 at large, and then in 2 years from now, there'll be another at large.
So
Every 2 years, there's a potential turnover.
Well, they're still gonna serve 4 years.
they will serve, okay.
Yeah, they're
So,
serving their 4
but
years.
basically, whenever a city commissioner changes,
And,
that city
Well,
commissioner,
and that's another thing
No,
that I would like.
those.
I'm started.
That ballot runs concurrently with the at-large election.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's-
the same person could win again
yes, and keep that person.
You know, but again, if they're gonna comply with the 8-year rule for 4 and 4 appointments for
Right.
PUB.
Yeah,
I think it's really innovative, and I'd love to see some exploration of it, but that map is gonna have to be drawn in good colors
No, of
for me.
and I have good crayons. But also,
No, if you have a PUB meter,
Yeah.
you get a vote.
you get to vote. It's one per household. You're
But-
gonna get
but
the
they-
ballot, you fill it
Yeah,
in who
but
you want.
the
and mail it in.
candidate still has to meet the other requirements.
Of course, yeah,
You know,
those
has to
people
be a
that-
ratepayer, has got to
Yes.
live in the city of Brownsville, et
Exactly.
cetera. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
okay.
Well, that's revolutionary, not evolutionary, but I want to see it as something that we can explore.
Well, David, you know, I think Magic Valley does that.
Yeah, they do
Military
something very
Highway
similar.
Water,
Yeah.
I
It's
get
not,
ballots
it's not
all the
like it's
time.
never been heard of, but it
Yeah,
certainly
Exactly.
is.
I mean, those are co-ops where
Right, they're
there's,
co-ops,
there's
right.
no money transfer, right? So then,
No.
if we're gonna go that route, then, you know,
That's a
what's the city,
Just,
They still-
commitment
they
to
still have a major-
PUB?
Well, they still have,
they're looking
the
at an
PUB still has
application.
5 votes.
The city will be going through their application, saying, you know
They
what,
still
this is a
have
strong
five.
candidate, da-da-da.
5
Yeah.
appointment votes.
Yeah,
Yeah. for
That's
me,
kind of
I'm
a
a
model,
little
like a hybrid.
confused,
So
but-
Chair, is this an item for number 7? You're calling for, is that your motion, or you're asking for a
You
second?
wanna put it,
Or you want to?
If you make a motion, I'll second that. I like that idea. And we can explore it at the next meeting.
My
in more
motion
detail.
is what came out of my brain.
And just to be clear, we haven't closed public hearing yet.
we have?
We haven't closed public
Oh,
hearing.
no, we haven't.
Can
closed
we
public.
invite?
Does anybody have
Can we invite the
comment on that?
commissioner present to public hearing if
What was that?
there's
Dave?
anything he would like to say?
What commissioner, who's here?
Oh, it's Ped.
No.
Commissioner Ped.
Okay,
Is that here?
so motion to go close public hearing?
motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Us- All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, those opposed? Okay. So, the motion would be that District 1 through 4 get make an appointment
By the city commission.
by the city commission as it reads in the charter, with the, help me out here,
Two
Mr.
at,
Vasquez.
with the 2 at-large members.
No, with the requirements,
They're already in the charter, aren't they?
no, they're not in the charter.
Aren't
There is no
there
requirements in the
Requirements
charter.
to sit on the PUB boards? And that's already.
You have to be a member,
You
you
have-
have to be a customer of
There's-
PUB.
That's
There's
it.
no qualifications. but
Right.
There's
Yeah.
some requirements.
Yeah, but they got to be a resident, got to be,
Yeah, but there's no qualifications like you're speaking of.
yeah.
Carlos,
okay.
can you try and articulate the motion, or I just
Okay.
don't understand.
Well, here, District 1 through 4 will still appoint the way it reads in the charter. The at-large positions, which is at-large A and B, will go to the public with qualifications.
So there's 2 candidates?
When you say they,
There's
they
two
go,
candidates.
they go to the ratepayers.
To the ratepayers.
So
Yes, to the
at-large
ratepayers of
commission-
PUB.
Of PUB for a vote.
For a
At-large,
vote.
okay. At-large Commissioner A
A
has a
and-
person. At-large Commissioner B has a person.
Right.
And
We're
then
we're
that
taking
goes
that
to
away
city.
from them. They're no longer going to be appointing a board member. It's going to go to the public.
Yeah, they'll be elected.
Yes.
See,
Department of
I'm-
Justice will say.
I like that.
I don't know if that consolidates the power too much in the at-large commissioners.
It's
I'm
only-
still of the-
It's only 2
Okay.
votes.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, as I said,
Good
I truly believe this is an important concept that should be explored. If I could, I would just suggest that we extend that to something where you have an opportunity to work with others and formalize it in a way that, do you remember the movie Moonstruck and the grandfather crying because he doesn't understand?
Is that the version in 1960 or the one in 1980?
Are you the grandfather?
I'm the grandfather.
There was 2 versions of that movie. Which one are we discussing? The one with Cher?
Well, the one with Cher.
I
Okay,
definitely don't want to vote on this yet.
Okay.
Right,
I
it's
would-
got potential, but yes.
I think it has potential. I don't want to vote on it tonight.
so we put it
Just-
into our consideration.
Are you
agenda.
withdrawing your motion?
I'm going to withdraw it, and then when we get to our agenda items for next week, I'll add it there.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll
Okay.
do the same on the straight vote.
And I still have,
A motion to table this item.
no, you don't have to table it, we're just removing it.
There's no motion.
There's no vote yet.
But it will be added to next week's.
It will
agenda.
be on the next agenda.
Yes, but, and we'll put it on the agenda. Second, because I have a issue with it, is that when an elected official, and I forget which number it is. Let's say the elected official that gets elected to commissioner or at large, when they're incoming, I believe that the board member that was appointed in that spot should be terminated if there's a new elected official. That way they can start with a board member and it's a 4-year run from there. Not, they voted for them 3 months before they lost their election, and that person, that elected official that got elected to that seat has no board appointment. So I think that in future elections, or if we can put it to the vote of the people, that if, say, for example, District 2, with Ms. Tetros on her way out because of term limits, that person that gets elected to that seat, whoever was appointed to that board seat is eliminated from that board seat, and that way whoever's the new elected official has the appointment for
But
those 4
remember,
years.
it's a city commission now.
That's going to appoint.
That appoints,
Well,
right,
not-
the city
not
commission.
an individual commissioner.
No, for District 1, 2, 3, and 4.
No, doesn't matter.
Right,
Remember,
it's
we
the
talked
city.
about that, it was gonna be the body as a whole. You weren't gonna have this courtesy stuff, well, it's your turn and it's your turn,
Right.
it's, so that's kind of.
Well, as written, it's
It's
as
not-
written, it's the body as a whole, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
right.
Um,
Right now, the way it's written, it's supposed to be the city commission, but they start the courtesy stuff and it's your
Right,
turn
so
and
that,
your
and that's
turn.
why it should be.
Eliminate
it-
that.
It should be, District 2 should have the appointment of the board,
Yes,
okay?
Yes,
And-
all of
and
them.
then- And all of them.
Yes.
And then whoever wins that seat should be able to put a board member
well,
once they're
again,
no,
elected.
that's
they can make a
supermajority.
recommendation to the
Right.
rest of the city commission.
Well, of course, yes.
Right?
Right,
But-
but the person sitting in that seat
Is it automatically gone?
is automatically gone,
And that's how you start the process,
all over again.
renew. Yeah, I don't have a
Exactly.
problem with that.
And the only thing you might possibly want to add to that would be that you would want that person to continue to serve until such time as replaced.
It's a holdover provision.
Right,
Yeah.
so that if it takes 6 weeks or 3 weeks to
Yeah,
get
it's a
that
Per
done.
month.
Yeah,
Whatever, yeah.
it's a holdover.
And
But knowing that when whoever's elected, they know that, I may have only a month.
Or they could get reappointed.
Or they could get reappointed, correct.
they could be reappointed. And I'll just point out that adds some incentive for a PUB board member to be involved politically. If they desire to stay in a position, they will express their support for a city commissioner. That may be in the form of a newspaper ad or yard signs or any number of other ways.
Well, let's hope that they keep that out of it, because it shouldn't be politicized.
Yeah,
But-
should,
well,
but that
if-
way.
I know, I know.
If I'm on the PUB board and I want to stay there, I'm going to campaign for my candidate. I'll pour in as
But
much money as.
remember that it's a city commission, is no longer an
it's
individual
super.
commissioner.
Yes.
Right, right, but still, that seat should become empty.
I agree. I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with that.
As long as.
Okay,
So is that your motion for number 7? Or is this we've moved
yes, my
on?
motion in number 7 is that when an elected official wins a seat, that the board appointee at PUB seat gets vacated. That way, the incoming elected official can motion whoever they want, and if it passes, it passes.
But it's not like that right now.
It's not like that right now.
No, no.
Exactly. Because
But
someone,
no, but each precinct doesn't have an appointment, so you're
Right.
not,
right, but
so
that's
you're
going
not,
to be a
you're not
vacated seat.
changing anything that's existing. Because right now, the city commission as a whole appoints them, and so if someone doesn't get reelected, well, then they didn't have someone that they appointed. So you'd have to change the charter first to allow the city commission to appoint each one of their own person, and then
Well, no,
you can
no.
amend it to allow them,
No,
that when they're out.
what
to
we're
change
doing
it.
is
Maybe we can
vacating
just
the
have
seat.
we can just have a is there a second on this?
Wait, hold on. What we're doing is we're vacating the seat to whoever's incoming. Let's say they get reelected. Let's say you're running for District
Who do
1.
you remove?
The appointee from PUB. The
Wait,
trustee
but
that was put there.
Isn't District 1, what is the companion
doesn't-
district that goes, just
yeah.
real quick, real quick. It's
Because
District
you
1
have
that comes
people,
up for,
and this is my example, real simple. I'm the commissioner of District 1, you're running against me. I appoint my appointee 2 months before you beat me and you get elected. So that person's gonna serve 4 years. Am I correct or not?
No, I understand
Okay.
what you're saying. The problem is that you don't get an appointment. Right now, the city commission may be acting that way.
Right, well,
But-
yeah, you don't have
but you
the
don't-
choice of saying, you know what, I would like to appoint so-and-so, because they're already sitting there, someone's already in that appointment.
Yeah.
No, the charter does not allow for each commissioner to have
Yeah, that's
their
not
own
designed
appointment.
in, is what I'm
Right,
saying.
And ju-
exactly.
I'm sorry, just to be clear, we
Yeah.
have a motion on the table. We haven't had a second, and we're having
Will
discussion.
wants to go home. He's ready. He's already packing his
I'm
bags.
just making sure we're following.
No,
the
I-
rules.
He's already packed everything. He's ready to run out of here.
big new job for Will.
Let's bring 7 back I'll work on this.
So are you going to withdraw your motion?
Yeah.
I'm withdrawing
Okay,
it,
good.
Okay.
and then we'll bring it back at the next meeting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that improves accountability.
I'll write it down.
Okay.
Which is what we're trying to improve,
Yeah.
or trust.
Go
But,
up there.
okay,
So now we're
So
at number
we're gonna-
8.
yep. Item 8,
Item number 8, consideration, discussion, and action, if any, related to setting of future agenda items.
Okay. I believe you have already all the future agenda items that we discussed?
That's
Or do we
correct.
have to go through them?
No, we've been writing them down.
Okay.
Are there any additional agenda
additional?
items?
You got mine, right? On
Yes.
elected-
Just wanted,
On election, mine on his, and everything was tabled.
Yeah, I think any
are we meeting next
alternatives-
week? That's my
Yes.
question.
We are meeting next week.
Okay.
Wait up.
I make a
I'd like
motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
I'll stay with you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. See you next week.
It is 7:56, meeting has ended.